Welcome, everybody. Today I have an amazing guest. He's a big name in the space, Mr. Frank Sondors. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. It's been a while that we've known each other. I think it's like 2 years, and we've known each other well on LinkedIn pretty much. Like I would say, haven't met even for beers or offline, anything like this. Something that I do very frequently, yeah, like it's been like a very, very long time, right? So I always say there's always these sort of LinkedIn buddies, let's call it that way. And then sometimes you're gonna meet them on a Zoom call. And this is literally their call, like 2 years down the road where we finally meet. That's why, treat, the people that you know on LinkedIn a bit like a network, because you will bump into them. Yes, over a call, and then it will maybe we're gonna do business together, and it'll lead to something else. We're gonna meet offline, right? So and that's what network is all about, right? So no, it's good to be here. For those of you that don't know me, I've been running a company called Salesforge, also called as the Forge. There's multiple different brands, all called Forges. But prior to that, I used to be in sales. I used to, in my last gig, lead a sales team of 50. I understood that back in the days, sort of growth at all costs. It was plowing more bodies, stacking bodies on top of each other, scaling more pipeline, more revenue, more everything. And I was really frustrated with, all the legacy softwares that still exist in the market that still make like 200 plus million, that rely on bodies, do seat-based pricing, essentially are very inefficient from what's called CAC efficiency standpoint, like what's the cost of customer acquisition. So I thought to myself, what is the real experience? Who is the number one pipeline building software on the planet? I thought to myself, that's nobody. Nobody's dominating what I call the pipeline category. The pipeline category is doing very, very effectively pipeline generation across email, LinkedIn, and calling. Nobody does. I don't know even a single software that I would, say this is the Google of the category. This is the pipeline the god. The software, whatever. It's one app, multiple softwares. Right? Nobody comes to mind, literally. And there's multiple contenders in the space from Apollo, etc. But like, I wouldn't call them like, oh my God, like I would buy this software. I would never build, any other software because this is the software, So I thought to myself, damn, let me take this on. Let me build a company. What should I call it? Well, I do sales, so probably something with sales, but there's no company known as the Forge. So it has to be the Forge, Salesforge. Yeah, sounds a bit similar to Salesforce, but whatever, let's go for it. So that's what happened 3 years ago. Naturally incorporated in Estonia, one of the coolest places in the world, to incorporate. Delaware could be the other one as well, right? To incorporate it. I scaled the company in the first year to $3 million, much faster than any competitors in the space. Some of you know how competitors have scaled, how fast in the first year they scaled. I think the fastest was like 2 million, 2.8 million maybe is the fastest in the first year. 3 million, baby. Less than 11 months and some days, whatever. So scaled it in the first year. So the scaling is not just the revenue; it's also the software that you scale. So there was the first software. So you mentioned actually it was MailForge, but actually the first software was the Salesforge software. It's just that it didn't fly in the early days. And because the software just used to send cold emails at scale with unlimited mailboxes, and the unique selling point was to send a unique email in different languages. And the uniqueness came with GPT-3, then GPT-4, etc. But then more and more companies started to do that. But it didn't fly. You didn't see the hockey stick in the first few months. And then when you speak to customers, an agency owner, every single day, they're like, you tell them, yo, you need to set up mailboxes and domains. And all the competitors, none of them provided infrastructure. Nobody provided infrastructure. So they all copied us later on. We thought to ourselves, damn, so without infrastructure, we're not gonna solve the deliverability. So what should we do? Because everybody goes to GoDaddy, sets up the domains, then goes by.
Yeah, there was a massive fuck up. I remember that. My God. That was when I started, right?
Yes. So you think to yourself, wow, what a big problem that is. And it was very frequent. So then you try and hack it together. What's the hack? You're like, okay, I'm gonna charge you like $100 for this. And I'll set it up for you. And then I was manually setting up. Literally manually. I was spending like on the weekends, like 4 hours for one single customer setting up the domains, DNS, everything.
I would have paid it immediately. It's time as well because it took like fucking 2 days to fucking oh my God.
Yeah, it was horrible. And then so you understand, oh wow, it's complex. It's horrible. It's very important that something is horrible. You don't want to do it. Like you could do something better with your life. So it's horrible, complex, also expensive, right? So Google Mailbox, whatever, always used to cost a lot of money. And you're like, this is a gold mine. This is because I was speaking to like like 40 to 60 customers every week, agency owners, etc. We always had the same problem. So some of them figured out how to do infrastructure, or they said, Frank, I have a VA in the Philippines, whatever. And then we're like, guys, we're never gonna scale our business. We're never gonna scale Salesforge unless we build a second product called MailForge.ai to plug in the infrastructure. And that's exactly what we did. And boom, the hockey stick went. And then, so a lot of people, like yourself, many others, thinking that I'm the CEO of MailForge. MailForge was the second product. It's not the first one. So this is definitely, there's a bit of a history there, but a lot of people do know as a MailForge. And yes, MailForge massively took off, and then we started to power all the cold email softwares out in the planet. We're back then the largest infrastructure provider. Today it's hard to know who's the largest email infrastructure provider on the planet for cold email. But today we have 4 email infrastructures that we offer across 3 domain registrars. So this is how it massively expanded over time. Having multiple domain registers, by the way, also is important to improve deliverability, which is why we did multiple. And today, the default is not to have one email infrastructure provider, but actually have it at least 2 on a single customer that you set up. And you plug that into a sequencer or even 2 sequencers. I know a bunch of agencies that run on 2 or 3 sequencers, that scale up. And that's how things have evolved over time, right? Multiple layers, multiple infrastructures, multiple sequencers, multiple data vendors, and orchestration platforms, Clay, Databar, you name it. Like, so much has gone on in space. And I think over the last 2 years, over 100 more probably competitors have just popped up. Literally, that's how fast the space is moving. It's very fast. And that's cool, I think, people more interested. So I definitely, invite a lot of people into the space. And I think, there's still a lot to do. The space is humongous. And really, the lunch, who are we eating up for kind of breakfast, lunch, and dinner are the big guys, the legacy companies that operate on huge headcounts and everything. That's who we're going after, right? So it's cool to go up, against those boys with a lot of new gen software, that's in the market. And with some of them, we work together, we're good buddies, we're in Slack, we have Slack channels with different competitors, whatever. And so a lot of things are happening. And it's cool. I think the space is cool where, 2, 3, whatever, 4, 5, CEOs of all competing softwares can get into even the webinar. That also happens, and just talk stuff, talk about the problem, etc. We all solve it differently, blah, blah, blah. But because the market is big enough, you don't have to be at each other's throats. I will call it what it's called collaborative competitor approach. Like competitors working with each other should be a thing. And I always give an example, and I think that's the best example in the world to give, where Google is transferring over $30 billion a year to Apple to make sure Google Chrome is installed as a default browser on an iPhone. As an example, they both compete. They both have search products, etc., and compete on data and many other things. And that could be applied to any other space. So one of the, I think always the smartest founders, the founders that are thinking outside the box, are the ones that work with competitors. Sure, we compete, but we're trying to solve this problem. And you don't want to solve this problem, so I can power this thing, and you can power my thing, and we can do the XYZ things. But what is important is just focus on the problem and solving the problem really well. Nobody, including us, has solved the problem really well yet. So we are also contesting the space to be solving that very well. It is very difficult to solve, just to let you know.
Yeah, it's very difficult. That's true.
You also have what's called the things that you cannot control.
Yeah.
The Google gods, the Microsoft gods, what they're gonna do, LinkedIn gods, you name it, whatever the gods is you're going up against. And you need to think what they think as well. What does Microsoft and Google think about cold email?
They don't like it.
Automation. And how do you build a software where maybe overnight everything will kind of be killed, How do you future-proof your stack, your infrastructure, everything that you do to survive the Armageddon that's coming, right? What we're going to see this year, nobody knows. But we know that something will hit the fan.
Yeah.
And if you're an agency owner, you have customers running, you have 10 customers, 20 customers, if something will hit the fan, what you gonna do? What is your plan B, C, and D? First of all, you have these plans in place. Are you diversified enough? Question mark. Typically, the answer is they're not diversified, and this is where I think 90% of agency owners are. They're totally happy with how they do things and the stack they have, what they've done over time. They're not diversified, most of them. Most of them are like, oh, I've been doing this for a year. It's been working for me, even 6 months. and the agency owners that I have very much respect on, they have a very diversified stack, multiple sequences, technology. You know, they know
Agreed.
what they're doing,
Mm.
and they even use other like sophisticated additional capabilities. Let's say on the data front, not to buy the same leads, always the same leads ever and ever again. They use tools like ReviOps, for example. There's a cool tool out there in the market as well on the data front. So like it gives me a good understanding which agencies are sophisticated or not. And there's a lot of agencies that are, let's go, not too sophisticated, right? And they could be they could be eliminated by the big, like they can be, not that they can be eliminated, but they can definitely, if something changes, they'll die very fast. There's a big chunk of agencies like I can predict that will die over the next year or two because they're not ready for what's coming.
Yeah.
It's hard to talk about what's coming, but software companies are definitely preparing for this. We and competitors, etc., for what potentially may come and how to build the software, how to future-proof that. But from an agency standpoint, you have to do exactly the same. If something changes, like what is your response? How quickly you're going to do that? Whatever that is. I think on the infrastructure front, for example, people think about having backup domains, if these burns, right? That's an example of that. Something, these domains burn, you have backup domains, but it could be something else. What if this sequencer stops working? That is an example, and you have 100 customers on the sequencer.
Yeah.
What then? What's going to happen then? So because this is a space which has a lot of what's called gray hat tactics, right? You're doing a lot of things where you're not complying with, let's say, TNCs, let's say Google or LinkedIn and many other things, right? And something may change overnight. You need to be prepared for that. And essentially, a lot of people are not prepared. And the other problem with I think in the agency space, and you can probably speak on this, Johannes, a bit more on that, is that a lot of folks, a lot of folks in the agency space just came out of uni. And just start an agency.
Yeah.
They have not worked for many different companies and whatever companies or other agencies, etc. They're fresh out of uni, they start an agency, got 3 customers, then 5 customers, then 10 customers, etc. But they have not they don't have the scars of the working from other companies. They don't know how to respond to some of the things that may hit them. So that means the maturity of the type of people I think in the space, you've got a lot of younger folks in the space also.
Agreed.
So that's kind of, because I know that's called the demographics of the type of people, where they came from, etc. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that, and of course, I think the younger generation adapts the best, actually, to be honest, just generally. So I'm just saying that you will have to adapt. It's kind of to prepare you. But yeah, so a lot of things are coming. And that's kind of, we dive deeper maybe on the infrastructure front and maybe other bits. But so there was MailForge, there was second software, and then so we've been around business literally for 2.5 years only, and so now we have 7 softwares altogether. But the software number 7, which is what I call the pinnacle product, it's not called the Forge, it's actually Agent Frank, named after me. It's a fully autonomous AI SDR that operates across only does outbound and does cold email and LinkedIn. The reason why it's cooler, better, whatever than any other AI agents, it runs on all 4 email infrastructures, 3 domain registrars. And you can hook up unlimited LinkedIn profiles into the agent for you to run programmatic at scale, fully autonomous agentic campaigns on LinkedIn. Pretty cool, and against any other LinkedIn AI agent, whatever tool. But the way that they kind of, let's call it product strategy, this is called the software compound model. You're actually building multiple pieces of software. You're making money from multiple softwares. Other companies also do that where they have add-ons, etc. So for us, this is not an add-on, just a separate software. So you can just buy one software and just use it somewhere else in the ecosystem, right? So, and the agent gets better when we build a new Forge, because we hook it up, the Forge, into the agent. So when we're building a new product, it has to upgrade the agent. It has to. But the human can use it as well. The agency can use it as well, like as a standalone product within the stack, or can use it with the rest of the competitors. We're totally fine, working with competitors. And we use there. And so the reason why we're doing these things and why we decided to build all this stuff is because when you look at the whole space, so imagine we have like hundreds of competitors. So everybody builds like a point solution, a solution for this, solution for cold emailing, solution for LinkedIn, solution for buying mailboxes, etc. These are the point solutions, and we call this, and then you need to stitch them together, and you need to operate this sort of stack as an agency, and we call this the Android experience.
Mm-hmm.
But there could be this what we call the Apple experience. One provider that builds capabilities, best-in-class capabilities that talk to each other, and there are benefits, just like Apple has. I'll give you just one very super simple example. So
Mm-hmm.
even to log in into every single one of those softwares, we use one single login, which is called the Forge ID, Apple ID, Forge ID, that you use to log in, so that there's a data transfer across all the softwares. So there's a lot of kind of other capabilities we're going to build over time, but at least the systems are unified across the softwares. And so a lot of the things that we're building are very, very mimic to how Apple runs their business, or other companies that run their business, where there are multiple pieces of software and the data has to circulate, or stuff has to circulate. And we can actually improve deliverability if we own the infrastructure, the sending and the warm-up and everything. And not something that you can do if you have no control. Let's say you are cold email sending software, and this is the infrastructure. You have no access to the infrastructure. You can't do anything with it. You have no control. Like backend engineers, our backend engineers have access to all code, right? So then you know where the problem lies when deliverability tanks, so this happens, etc. So it's just a different way of kind of solving what's called the pipeline, the meetings, any meetings, problem. So yeah, and so that's it. So we've been scaling since, still continue scaling, and building more capabilities, and more stuff is coming. Agencies, particularly, are asking also for cold calling is in the next channel. So you build cold email, LinkedIn, and then we're gonna do cold calling at scale as the final frontier. And then we'll see what's next. So yeah.
Thank you for this, Frank. I have two things that I realized just when you explained this thing now. Because one thing that I think is standing out for me is like, because you scaled this up so fast, and I believe the main reason for this is you coming literally normally from sales. Because the thing what I see with most of the people that want to build softwares, they are software engineers. They're sat behind this thing, and that's what they're good at, but they're not good at selling their stuff. And I think that makes you so strong.
Well, yeah, one is I used to sell software for 10 years, but then right now I'm building a software sort of for what I call for my former self,
Mm-hmm.
which is I'm building software for VP sales out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, agencies for us is a humongous segment. So we do build capabilities also for them. But for every agency that I would sell into, I can sell to 100 VP sales out there, just kind of the ratio, right? So you're
Mm-hmm.
like, in the early days, what's called your beachhead, essentially, definitely it can be agencies. Agencies do adopt the latest tech, the best tech, whatever. But if you're looking to become a behemoth of the business, behemoth of business means 100 million ARR or more, you have made it like you are like 0.001%, whatever. To do that, you need to unlock the non-agency market, which is just selling to businesses direct as well. Because a lot of companies do not use agencies, and they have a policy to never use agencies,
Yeah, I know.
right?
Especially the big ones, they all say don't use agency. I work with massive corporations, so that's why I know, yeah.
Yeah, they don't use agents, and that's a policy, and that's okay, all right? So, but like, and so some companies build softwares for sort of agency first, let's call it approach. And in our case, we actually do build for what we call sales teams first approach, probably. Because this is like longer term over time, this is where the biggest revenue chunk will come from. And if you look at the biggest companies in the space, this is where most of the revenue is. Like 90% of revenue of these companies is in non-agency space. And so you just have to think about where's the bacon, essentially, in which segment, and which competitors you'll need to displace in 5 to 10 years, and what capabilities you need to do, etc. Where competitors are the strongest? Who is some of the strongest competitors in the SMB space, mid-market space, enterprise space? And we want to be kind of going a bit more upmarket, mid-market enterprise. That's the segment we really want to be, long term. And the reason why you want to be sort of in that segment is because there are agencies that specifically service mid-market enterprise companies, and they need different sets of capabilities, in there. And you need to understand what mid-market enterprise companies want from you. And from that software, that you're building. And there's definitely a lot of like bigger software competitors that we have. They will typically tell you we are anti-enterprise. We do not build anything for them. We're never gonna build anything for them. We don't want to do that stuff that they're asking us which is things like SOC 2 compliance, for example, whatever, some other kind of stuff. And they're happy to make money from in the SMB segment and just dominate the space in the SMB. There's actually a ton more money to be made in mid-market, but the requirements are much, 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 much higher. It's like even silly things like reporting. Reporting has to be like golden. People will just buy your software, actually, not because it's the best performing software, actually, it has the best deliverability, but it has the best reporting.
Yeah, it's because that's what they need to report to their fucking supervisors, right? Exactly.
Yes. And if it doesn't work, it's okay. But I was able to report back to my supervisor. Like so then reporting becomes more important in mid-market enterprise and actually the performance of the software. It's like crazy stuff like that. So yeah.
Awesome, man. Okay. And I'm actually quite interested because you just said you want to bring cold call in, like what, an AI cold caller?
No, so cold calling and using AI or agentic system is illegal on outbound in Europe and the US. So that I can't see that changing ever. You can do a calling agentic on inbound. So the calling on the outbound front will be human-based, and then on inbound it will be agentic, well, human and agentic-based. So we as a company, we do both things. We provide the ability for you to run the software as a humans or sales team, agency, etc. But in the same software, you can spin up agents, fully autonomous agentic systems. And it'll become a lot more advanced. But essentially, the reason why we're doing this, which is a bit different to all the other guys, or maybe there's a bit of the way they talk about these things, but we really believe that the way we're going to progress over the next 5 to 10 years in sales or in other space, in finance, etc., you as a human-based team, you will work with AI agents a lot more. So you need to orchestrate a single software environment where humans can operate, but also can operate together with agents in tandem. So different parts of the task will be done by agents, and then this part of the task will be done by humans. And by them working together, the output levels massively go up, and the cost per unit, let's say booking a meeting, goes down. Right? That's why we're building the way that we're building. And yes, that means we're doing a lot of things simultaneously. It's actually on purpose because over time you need to figure out as the software matures on the human side, we also need to mature the agent side, and we need to fuse it together very nicely. This process takes actually like years to do, probably, to arrive to a state like in maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 years where you're saying that, wow, we have built what we call a software that blends nicely agency work, let's call that, with agents in the same software to drive superior output levels. But everybody agrees that's where everything's headed. Right now, the way that the world looks like is you would use one of these softwares to run campaigns, etc., and then you would use something like, let's call it NA10 or something else. Some automations are running, agents are running in tandem. But really, this is like a temporary solution before the software will have its own agents natively built in and doing things, so you're already seeing these signs in the market that we are heading all towards that direction. And that's what this is what the demand is in the market from enterprise companies, also smaller companies. The demand essentially is, Frank, I want to have more pipeline with the fewest number of humans. The demand is there for that. And they're demanding a software. And these software, some of them do a good job, some of them do a bad job, etc. But the demand is massive there, and that demand will never die, which is great. But the supply is not there on that software. For things that people are asking, and it's difficult to build. Or both from an engineering standpoint, product standpoint, there are no examples in the market where that works very nicely.
True. I didn't find it.
So you don't know how it looks like even. But this is where we headed. But
it's exactly where we had it. I know, like this is like, I mean, we know that AI, I believe, grows like 3.3 times a month, right? So this is approximately how fast it grows. So like at the end of 27, the world will not be anymore the world like it was like now. Like it's gonna be completely different. And I also know this. But like I'm very interested in this Agent Frank thing, obviously, because this is something where the world will go. So basically, you are forced forward there already, because I already said, like, by the end of this year, you have an agent, you tell them what to do, and it just fucking does it. And that's basically what you build with Agent Frank. Or do I understand this right?
Yeah. So Agent Frank just picks out the leads against your ICP criteria, reaches out with them with a unique email based on all public available data on that particular individual, in any language of your choice, English, Swedish, German, whatever. If he gets a response back, it'll talk back and forth, and it has a goal to achieve, which is booking a meeting typically. There's other conversion actions could be achieved. So we do that on outbound. We got to do that on inbound this year later. Another agent is coming. Just so you know, a little hint. There's more agents coming. This is called agent teams. There will be sales teams and there will be agent teams. It's called in the world of agents what's called agent swarms. Uh, but there will be teams. So there'll be another agent in play because we're gonna do a lot of inbound as well. Because enterprise companies and mid-market companies expect a software to execute outbound and inbound activity in the same environment. And majority of the
Interesting.
softwares right now in the space, they all are outbound softwares, and they cannot be implemented for all the inbound stuff that needs to be done as well within the companies. So you need to build inbound capabilities. There's a lot of things that need to happen in inbound, but you can literally triple the revenue MRR of your company if you sell the inbound side of the business. So yeah, just kind of in there. Sorry, where were we?
Yeah, does it go like you said, like all the with the agents, right? So like Sintra, the company as well. They
Yeah,
also have
also,
these
yeah.
different agents, right?
They're not far away from us, funny enough. From my office.
Really? Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, that's what I saw. They also do something like this similar, right? So like,
but Centra targets very different ICP, and they're targeting more, I would say, freelancers. Probably is the best way. They need like what they sell is what I would describe like assistants, but they call them agents.
yeah.
They also sell what's called an AI business development agent, but it's more of a coach. Maybe it's something you can build like a custom GPT. You could build it, but you don't have to because you can take an off-the-shelf solution. So that agent from Centra and talk to it. And yes, they're doing exceptionally well as a business. We also looked at them, it's like, wow, they're on the agent front, they're making more money than us. It's crazy. Great, like kudos.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's like, but what do they do actually? So what they
yeah,
sell is actually agents, but more of a assistant. I understand what the spiel there is. They have great branding like Clay and many other
yeah,
companies.
yeah,
And understand why you would buy this. And then the price point is only like $100 a year. And he's like, damn, like it's dirt cheap to buy this.
yeah,
Of course, when people buy this, they
yeah,
buy for a year. So quite it's not a monthly billing like we have, like 90% of customers.
yeah, yeah,
And it's not what you would describe a platform. We are a platform,
yeah,
a behemoth of a software, a lot of code, a lot of everything. What they do is a nicely packaged software, great software, does the job. People want to buy it, a lot of traction, scaling to the moon.
yeah.
But if you are an agency owner, you would do what they do in NA10 typically. So this is the alternative to that, right? So you can assemble this together throughout the software, but it's not a typical human cannot do that. It's like the lovable thing, right? Versus engineers.
Yeah, that was sick, man.
Same thing,
Yeah, yeah,
like so I can't code, or in this example, I can't use NA10, so I'm gonna go use Centra.
yeah,
Or in this example, I'm gonna go use Lovable to build the software. It's gonna
yeah,
so you're unlocking the segment of the market that doesn't know how to use NA10, doesn't know how to code, etc. And you tell them, hey, just prompt a bit, and you're gonna get the software out of this thing. And then agencies actually start to implement, build tools for their customers. It's great actually for the agency, by the way. Um, but yeah, on this topic, maybe a bit, maybe an agency like. I think that also, we talked about also agencies a bit, but also the smartest agencies are the ones that, apart from diversifying the tech stack and how to do things,
yeah.
they also diversify their revenue streams.
Mhm.
Very, very important. So, you know a bunch of agencies, right? So, but like
Yeah,
there's multiple ways of generating revenue as an agency. And I
yeah.
can say that some agencies generate up to 50% of their revenue, which is media revenue. Media revenue means like you can call it whatever. You could call it media revenue, you could call it affiliate revenue, etc. But essentially,
Yeah, like call IQ, for example. There's a perfect example for that.
yeah, but there's other agencies, but they
Yeah,
have
yeah,
a model. So there's no point to sell your core service because the margin is much better on that bit, you know?
yeah,
you know?
mhm,
And then like you look at your P&L, it doesn't matter how many millions you make, you make revenue here, 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 and here. And you're like, okay, our core service margins are like tiny. Why do that? And you look at that thing, you're like, oh, that thing, I like that gross. That's beautiful. Let's do more of that. So this is just one example, affiliate revenue. But it could be other things like courses, etc. But you need to be diversified because and it's great, like sure, let's talk about call IQ example. There's other examples as well in the space, but like you need to diversify and people leave it like to the last minute, like they don't invest in that. So if you don't know how to do this, let's say the affiliate piece or whatever, just partner up with somebody, hire somebody, merge with another agency is even a good thing. So I see really good examples in the space already where two agency owners merge together for
Uh-huh.
to
Yeah.
triple their revenue, whatever, you know. Like
Yeah.
also think of that, like because sure you can be on your own forever and you can be make all the decisions, but do you have an appetite to scale your agency like 10x, etc.? Do you think you have all the skill set that's required?
Yeah.
No, what I would recommend to think about who could I merge with. So they are very good at this, we're very good at that. And if we're going to merge, it's going to be beautiful, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like starting, you know, a startup. You know, I'm the guy that sells and markets. He's the guy that's going to build and ship, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how I scale to 3 million. You know, it's kind of similar there, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, there's other cool things that are sort of happening because you know what if you're gonna merge and you're gonna become sort of more strategic for a customer, you're gonna become like the agency called the Kiln. If somebody doesn't know, Kiln was just acquired by 2X, a
Mm-hmm.
behemoth. I don't know how much they exited, but probably was a great exit. Blah blah blah. But
Mm-hmm.
to be acquired by a behemoth, you need to be seen as strategic for a segment in the market. You're not going to
Mm-hmm.
be strategic if you just do a bit of cold emailing or LinkedIn or
Yeah,
etc.
I agree.
How can you become?
Nobody wants to buy. What is your worth? Like what you bring to the table?
So what's your
Nothing.
mode? What are you bringing to the table? What's your know-how? I know how to
Mm-hmm.
send cold emails, so, but so do other millions of people know how to
Mm-hmm.
send cold.
Exactly. No, agreed. Okay, let's go a little bit deeper into Agent Frank because I'm very interested into this topic myself. So, like, basically, like, I could also use Agent Frank for me as a coach. There would be no problem to set it up also for my use.
Yes is the answer because you can have unlimited workspaces in Salesforce. So you can literally just go and sell to different businesses and set it up
Mm-hmm.
if you go run. The other beautiful thing that we're doing, which we believe is going to be massive, which is we're white labeling Salesforce right now. So you can set up your custom domain on your coach website, whatever agency, etc., and
Mm-hmm.
you can own Salesforce without the branding and everything. And you can go and resell that, and we're going to do revenue share.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so what we're doing is quite aggressive, actually, behind the scenes. We are essentially agencies are reselling our agents to their customers.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. The customer says, "Hey, listen, your retainer of 3 to 5K is too expensive." Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, cool. Well, I have this alternative thing called the AI agent, whatever you can call it, whatever you want. Um,
Okay.
Agent Johannes, Johannes,
Yeah.
and Agent Johannes costs $700 a month, or something like you know, much cheaper. You know, let's call it. You know,
Yeah.
it actually it's like it starts quarterly. It's like 2.2K quarterly versus a
Uh-huh.
retainer to 3 to 5K typically per month from an agency, right? So you're like, but it gives you essentially another option. So like this is fantastic a person tells you when a person tells you, sorry, you're too expensive, or we're not a fit, etc., but you have other things to sell, or you have an affiliate link, or you have a, you know, a reseller thing, you know, going on. Like, think bigger because you have closed loss opportunities. You're speaking to so many people, like, but they still need sales, right? They still need tech. So think like cold IQ, whatever. Like, think how else we can monetize this relationship, you know, and be of
Mm-hmm.
service of value to that business. So I think the white labeling thing or like the reseller thing will get big. What else do we have? Yeah, what else do we have there? Mm, I'm just trying to think of what other changes, but like there are definitely multiple streams of revenue that you know you can implement. Just I always say like think of like three things. So core agency service, multiple you know upsells, cross-sells opportunities. I think one thing I've seen very well done by you know to maximize really revenue of your agency, you decide to what's called partner up with another agency. So let's
Mm-hmm.
say you are the lead gen agency and you're going to work with an SEO agency. So the
Mm-hmm.
SEO agency will give you leads from them to you, and you don't
Mm-hmm.
have any conflict of interest. You essentially share leads.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give an example how we do this in our space. So we have a partner that we work with right now,
Mm-hmm.
and when a customer comes to us and says, "Hey, can I use Agent Frank for inbound?" Our answer is no. However, we know somebody that does an AI inbound agent very well, and we refer them leads all the time. We have the
Okay.
team to refer them leads, and
Uh-huh.
vice versa. When somebody goes to them and says, "Does your agent do outbound?" They say no, and they refer us leads. It's kind of similar, right? You
Mm-hmm.
disqualify the person, but you want to be of service and you want to
Mm-hmm.
send it to the right people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of in the same in the agency space. You do SEO, I do a geo, whatever, or this company does geo, you do SEO, you partner, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
or then I do lead gen, you do paid media, we partner up. Like you need to broker these relationships. Um, because who wouldn't want more referrals? Wouldn't want to have like a monthly, weekly supply of referrals?
Mm-hmm.
How do you build these additional sources? So you also have to be in the mindset of how to build sort of these sources that can keep feeding you, help your agency to compound.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The other thing, kind of just want to kind of on the lead structure, and maybe let's say call IQ again as an example, or probably
Mm-hmm.
there's other agencies that do also cool other things, is to do what's called sort of a bit more programmatic SEO as well. So
Mm-hmm.
even cold email agency, you provide GTM service, etc. Cold IQ does a lot of SEO slash programmatic SEO. And so
Mm-hmm.
they do generate a lot of leads, and they do have a lot of distribution due to their investment on the content front there. Um, and and yeah, right now I think the latest thing that they're doing is like highlighting the tech stack of the top people in the space. What tech stack do they use?
Yeah,
And
exactly. Yeah, we've seen
it's
that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
SEO, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and they own the eyeballs of the distributions that way, right? So it's a great play. Kudos to them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that gives them whatever benefit that gives them, because that if they get eyeballs on this piece of content like tech stack, etc., then the user will go to the section which is about tools and explore the tools, and then there's an affiliate link and they'll make money that way, right? So just think bigger, like how can you structure your website, how can you provide more value to people that are looking to book meetings and cold email, LinkedIn, etc. And yeah, it's gonna
Mm-hmm.
feel.
And Agent Frank, for example, you said 2.2K a month. And the outcome is mostly meetings, but you can also put it into other outcomes. I'm just thinking about,
Yes.
I'm running a lot of e-com, you know what I mean? I'm running for big online
Yep.
marketplaces. And
Uh-huh.
what basically my goal is to sign them up to the marketplace. And what very often is the problem is they signed up to the marketplace, but they have problem with the KYC, they have problem with the registration and all this kind of stuff. Could the agent also handle something like that? Because that's more inbound almost, right?
Yeah, that's more inbound. So you need the inbound. That's an example of where you need to combine the outbound agent with an inbound agent to solve
Mm-hmm.
itself. So yes, the outbound agent actions are meeting booked. So you can hook up a calendar, a link, whatever that
Mm-hmm.
is, and you can book the meetings. Then number two is we can ask for the meeting from the prospect. Actually, you see much higher conversion rates if in your segment using a Calendly is very normal. You should ask for the link from the prospect rather than pushing your link down the.
Interesting.
There's a bit of a power play. Why do you send me your link? Like you should ask me for my. The customer is the king. Think of it this way. Right? The customer is the king. You
Uh-huh.
should ask. Can I please book some time in your calendar? That's what you should be doing. That's psychology in sales. You don't
Okay.
say as a sales rep, whatever agency. Here's my link to book time with me.
Okay.
A lot of people, trust me, the CEOs and founders, etc., they will not book a meeting with you because you send a calendar link. Literally, that's the case. I know a lot of people that are very frustrated on LinkedIn. They talk about it time to time as well.
That's
Then the
interesting.
other action is to push traffic to a site. So you mentioned this actually. So you can just
Yeah.
drop a link and you want the agent to be pushing, so that whatever the offer is, you push them to this section
Yeah.
of the site. Could be the landing page where the conversion path continues.
Yeah.
And the other thing the action is who is the right person to talk about this? That is literally the conversion. We're trying to figure out who in the organization owns this problem, this space, etc. Because let's say you're doing outreach, you never know which person
Yeah,
is.
of course, I understand. You have the gatekeeper, blah, blah, blah. You need to go to the right person.
Yeah,
So,
so the
okay.
agent just tries to figure out who's the person. And that's it. That's the action you're trying to achieve. A goal has been achieved by figuring out this is the right person. And then sometimes the person is being CC'd, whatever. So so there's a few examples there. And then the last one is kind of the it's a conversion action where cold email, let's say, never works. Let's go. There are some spaces where it just doesn't work cold email at all. So
Yeah.
it's very
Great.
tough. Like booking a
Yeah.
meeting probably will never happen in a whole quarter, whatever, whole month. So
Mm-hmm.
the lightest conversion rates, sort of conversion action, is to start a conversation. Is a conversion action.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
looking to
Mm-hmm.
start a conversation, which is it's a thing in sales. Yes, the down funnel conversion is booking a meeting, but what you need to learn to do in sales is to start a conversation.
Yeah. Great. Yeah.
So we train the agent to start a conversation with that company, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Is the lowest sort of friction sort of conversion, and we tell this for people to use that have very 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 low reply rates or targeting enterprise companies, whatever. Like it's very
Yeah.
tough, cybersecurity, whatever you name it. Do
Mm-hmm.
not send links. Don't ask for a meeting. None of that. Just,
Mm-hmm.
you'll be happy to get a reply even from them.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
these are typically companies that have like six-figure opportunities, like massive deal sizes.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you choose from them, and then we do the execution across, LinkedIn and email, blah blah. We get natural replies back from the prospects, and then we use the RAG, which is very typical. It's called a knowledge-based RAG, vector database, same thing. Where based on your context of your business, what's your sales playbook, pricing, FAQs, etc., all of that context, you feed that into the workspace of the customer as an agency, and only that information can be used to actually talk back and forth with the prospect, and then the agent has a goal to achieve that conversion with that prospect, and that's it. You can set up different sort of what we call agent plays, essentially sequences for different audiences, different conversion actions, test different whatever things. And that's an example of where, so how maybe is that being combined with, let's say, agency work. So I'll give an example, maybe that, well, not that agency work, maybe let's take a big company example. A big company that has 20 salespeople. We're talking to them, on a daily basis. And so, Frank, we were looking at these agents, but we're not really sure how to implement them or how to even think about this. So typically, when you hire reps, all of them are expensive. If you've been in software sales, whatever, salespeople are not cheap. So if salespeople are expensive as engineers, they should only work key accounts, top accounts. They have the highest revenue potential, and you can justify spending money on labor on those accounts. However, nearly all businesses have what's called the long tail. They have a lot of fish in the market, like a huge market where the deal size maybe are much, much smaller. And there, it doesn't make sense to apply human labor. Financially, it doesn't make sense. So focus is key. Humans focus big accounts. Agents focus on the long tail. And that's how you can think about Salesforge. That's literally what the companies do. They go plow in 20 salespeople in 20 different workspaces. Each has their workspace. They go do the outreach, do scaling, whatever, many mailboxes, whatever. And then some of them were like, yo, I wanna reach out to these 10,000 long tail accounts. They're not gonna do that, but I'm setting up the agent. The agent goes and sources and informs the rep when the conversion has been achieved, whatever stuff has been achieved. They didn't have to do much, So yeah, that's how you can think about blend.
And the agent can also work obviously together with the SDR in this case. So basically it goes so far that it opens the conversation and says like, okay, he's ready to talk, and then the human can take over as well.
Yes, correct. The other thing, so there's also the co-pilot mode, which means if we got the reply, the agent stops. There's also that bit. The reason why I use that is because, fun fact, a lot of companies that we speak to, they don't have any documentation how the sales process works, what to say, what not to say, etc. The agent is only as smart as the input data that you provide, right?
Yeah, so exactly. That makes sense.
Most data you provide, there's no replies to generate. So we speak to a lot of people, or like founders, or like YC founders, whatever, And they're like, yo, Frank, we just raised 5 million. Cool. We want to test your software, blah, blah, blah. We want to set up this infrastructure, but we're big believers in agents. I was like, yeah, I totally get it. It's like, okay, so you know how the agents run, how it all works, there's the RAG, etc. Yeah. And then they don't have any documentation about the business, nothing. And so then they would just switch on the co-pilot mode because they don't know how to respond. They have not, many of them sometimes don't even have the product market fit, product channel fit, like none of that. They're just testing stuff. But they understand why they don't have time to actually do sales or whatever. Like it's not not that they don't have time to do sales. It's just that they don't know what they don't know. So they're applying the agent to do the best work possible, essentially. Sorry, what was it going? The other example I just want to give you, which is a very interesting one, I think personally, there's a company, a very big company. There's a head of sales, and he has 2 account execs under him, and they have no SDRs, but they need pipe. Need pipe. So the 2 account executives, they do full sales cycle, and the director of sales is not happy about the pipeline generation, but he cannot have the budget headcount. Sorry, there's a funny thing. So in big companies, there's a thing called, do we have a headcount approved? No, it's not approved. Okay, there's no headcount I have approved. Do I have a software spend I can spend? Yes. So let's buy an AI agent, That's another way to think about it. But essentially, what this director of sales was talking to me, like, Frank, I want to buy one AI SDR for each one of the, account execs. And because I don't have budget approved for any headcount for SDRs. That's an example, like literally conversations. Of individuals, and so that's why like this, whatever people think about AI SDRs, good, bad, not bad, I can just tell you, they definitely work when you have quite a you have a product market fit, you have product channel fit, right? So, and if your deal sizes are maybe below 20K ACV, you don't have a very long sales cycle. It's not enterprise sales. It can work, and it does work. And I can tell you that the outbound AI agent companies, the largest one at least I know, they're probably 17, 20 million in ARR.
Mm-hmm.
17 to 20 million dollars in ARR and outbound AI SDR. If they're making that much money, something is working. Just a
That's
lot
for
of people
sure.
believe it's not working or it's garbage, whatever. But if these companies make a lot of money, sure, some of them have churn. By the way, a lot of people think about churn negatively. The way we think about churn, let's say on the AI agent, and the same how other AI agent companies think about churn, you don't know for whom the AI agent is working or not. It's like a bit of an agency mentality. I'm not sure that we'll be able to deliver a pipeline for you. However, we will have a retainer for 3 months. We'll try and make it work. But everybody knows in the agency space, there's a high churn.
Yeah.
Same like with an AI SDR. Like same with people being fired in sales.
Yeah.
There's churn everywhere for this
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
But everybody goes and bashes all the AI agents on LinkedIn. It's
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But it's exactly the same metrics. In terms of churn rate, there's high churn in the space because it doesn't always work, but it's sometimes you just don't have product market fit, product channel fit, like all the like your pricing is too high, whatever the audience is wrong, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it does work, and these companies make a ton of money,
Mm-hmm.
and they get also naturally funded by all these cool VCs and stuff like that. They're not stupid either, and so the reason why you're onboarding like all these different customers in the early days, and you have high churn in the early days, that's expected, by the way,
Yeah.
which is because you need to generate learnings, what's called. You don't
Mm-hmm.
know for whom AI agent works, for whom it doesn't. So in the early days, what we did and what everybody did is we were onboarding, let's say everybody we can to
Mm-hmm.
learn. But
Mm-hmm.
we knew that it's not going to work for everybody. So you know that your churn will come and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why it's okay in the early days, you learn. And that's how
Mm-hmm.
you build what's called an ICP yes, an ICP no. And then later you have a qualification criteria that an AI agent only works for this segment, this and that and that, and that, because you learned. You run enough tests, you churn enough hundreds of customers,
Mm-hmm.
figure out for whom it works or not. And then suddenly your churn is amazing after a year or
Mm-hmm.
two because you've done all the learnings and you're only onboarding customers for whom we have a good, the data shows it works for this segment, for this industry, this market, and this size of the TAM, etc. So this is one thing that's happening in the space right now. So the
Mm-hmm.
agents are getting massively, massively better. If you
Mm-hmm.
want to dive deeper in this whole agent kind of craziness, whatever, the
Mm-hmm.
best guy to follow on LinkedIn right now, as of this minute, is called Jason Lemkin. Jason
Mm-hmm.
Lemkin is what's called the godfather of SaaS. And
Okay.
he's the if you somebody knows SaaStr, he's the guy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's the top dog. He has this conference called SaaStr in SF and also in London that I attended. So he's the guy that will preach agents over anything. He's preaching over humans right now. Anything, agencies, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll explain to you multiple different angles why that's the case and why things are shifting. So he's like the front runner on this topic, and a lot of other cool people are referencing it right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that agencies do not follow a lot of the SaaS people, which is very interesting, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm mentioning Jason Lemkin. So if you're an agency
Mm-hmm.
owner, I highly recommend you follow Jason Lemkin, even though he doesn't talk about agencies whatsoever. But you
Mm-hmm.
need to know how the space is evolving, because that will impact the agency space. Um,
Interesting.
and
Mm-hmm.
because all the SaaS companies, tech companies, etc., many of them, sorry, are watching Jason,
Mm-hmm.
not watching an agency owner on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Not even the
Mm-hmm.
top dogs on the agency space, by the way, just to let you know. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Agencies are watching other agencies. This is how it works. But
Mm-hmm.
generally, in the tech space, you have to know who are the top dogs on a particular topics, like the topic of SaaS or AI agents are implemented. Who are people that are, the thought leaders on the space?
Mm-hmm.
Jason Lemkin is just one of them. So he has a conference and he talks about it. He runs like 5 to 10 agents.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what we're moving towards. Multiple agents will be run that will be bought from different companies to implement, and it
Mm-hmm.
does work. So, and the final thing I want to close off here is that the agents compound in terms of efficiencies over time. So they get better
Mm-hmm.
and better and better and better and
Yeah,
better,
clearly because it's learning. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
right? But
Mm-hmm.
humans or agencies do not have the same compound.
No, that's for sure. Yeah, yeah,
What
yeah.
will happen this year or next year?
Uh-huh.
Well, get ready for this. These things are coming.
Yeah.
So what do you either embrace it, you fight it, what do you do, you know? But you know they
Yeah.
can't, like, what's your game plan for this, you know? I
Yeah.
have it.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
the question is, you as an agency, do you have a game plan? What do you like? And the smartest agencies, they know they're coming and they're trying to figure out can they make money out of this naturally, right? So
Mhm.
it's a very normal thought process, right? So
Mhm.
either you resell them or how do you embrace them? And I think that's how you also should think about it, because a lot of the repetitive work, manual work, where we need the agencies and the know-how, etc., the
Mhm.
the operational things may disappear and will pass on to the agents. So agency will become more strategic. That's where the
Mhm.
value goes. And you want to be
Mhm.
more strategic so you could be bought by the big boys in the future, right? And make
Mhm.
a seven-figure exit. That's what you should think about, rather than how to run cold email campaigns or etc. Like that's not serious as we're progressing next to 2 years.
Mhm.
Clay was the next level, I would say, right? So like
Mhm.
kind of sophistications like the Zoom info, but like Clay was the next level. So
Yeah.
everybody became GTM engineer. But then there's other things that happen like machine learning models. That's where Kiln, the agency, was there. Like the
Mhm.
levels, there are multiple sort of levels. You need to
Yeah.
upgrade. And I would
Mhm.
say you need to kind of think about what are these sort of things you need to specialize in and build competence in, to also unlock these bigger tickets, getting bigger contracts because I bet everybody would love to work maybe with 1, 2, 3 customers that pay a ton of money versus working with 50 customers, right?
25 or 50, yeah, exactly, for sure, yeah. That I
Those kind
pain
of
in
sort
the
of
ass.
so competence building is something is rare in the space, I would just say.
Mhm.
Um, because people are just happy to be making money with X number of agencies running, etc. And they just follow the deliverability trends. And that's all good and dandy. But like there definitely are levels to this.
Mhm.
And there is no sort of fast track or whatever, like boot camp, whatever I'm doing this. But if you're serious about the agency game, you need to compound,
Mhm.
and that's what's missing. It's a big hole, I would say, because all of these cool dogs in the space, Eric Noslavsky, whatever, they're all compounding. They're all trying to figure out the next level, building it on Curse and Claude, these systems, whatever.
Yeah.
They take it very seriously. So you should also do that. And
Mhm.
maximum probably 10% of agencies are doing that, max. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. 100% agree. But you know what? This is a general mindset thing as well, because I mean, I speak with them every day, and most of them, they don't really have this North Star to become big agency owners. They're just like, I make a little bit of money, I want some 10, 20K. Like that's their goal. You know what I mean? There's like, if you ask them, it's like, okay, I want to scale up, I want to scale up. But when you ask them, they're like, want to do really 50K? Can you imagine to be this agency owners? They're like, not really. So like this is the thing, like they are missing a North Star, you know? Like the ones that are really going there, like Cold IQ or Novoslavsky, whatever, they have a clear goal. They know exactly what they want, and that's why they go for it. And that's what I miss in the agency space. They're just like, yeah, make a little bit of money. I don't really like what I'm doing. This is what I see everywhere, you know? And this is the thing. So that's why I also wanted to ask you, that would be my next question, because I mean, I see how amazed you are about everything that you do. Like, what's your big North Star, Frank?
Uh, I mean, more pipeline with the least possible headcount. It's essentially eliminating the number of bodies that you require to build pipe.
Hmm.
It's as simple as that. The thought process here comes, if I've been in software and sales for such a long time, I hired hundreds of salespeople and fired hundreds of salespeople in my lifetime. You
Yeah,
have this sort of human frustration back of your mind, and you know that will be always the case.
yeah, agreed
So
100%.
how do you solve what they call the human problem in sales? Because I'll just give you this little thing. For every 10 salespeople that you hire, only one person is really natural at what they do. 2 to 3 people can be trained up. They're like a sponge, essentially. They get in the information, they train, they get really better, and they are very close to the A player. And then the 60% is the dead wood.
Mhm.
So my kind of personal mission is to eliminate the dead wood from the
It's a
equation.
great,
How do
a
you eliminate the
great
dead
mission.
wood?
Uh-huh.
You increase the output levels of the 40%. I'm building the software to increase the output levels of the 40% and eliminate the requirement for the 60% that's the dead wood.
Uh-huh.
Some sales leaders would argue it's 80% dead wood in the company. Anyway,
Yeah.
that is the problem that I'm trying to solve. The dead wood, however you're going to carve it out. There are a lot of bodies in sales. They're not really good at sales.
Yeah, a lot.
And what do you do about it? Because companies still need pipeline revenue, etc. Investors need to see the returns. Great. But everybody says that we don't have enough good salespeople. So we only have like We only have Frank, whatever, it doesn't matter who it is. Okay, but Frank cannot do 10x. What if I give the way that I probably put it, what if I could give an A player software to an A player?
Mm-hmm.
Because there is no A player software. The software is B and C, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
What if I would give an A player software to an A player? Suddenly we don't need the B's and C's to be hired and then fire them. We can increase the output levels of the A's.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't have the A player software.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm building. It's kind of the personal frustration being in the front line selling and then hiring people. And you're always thinking like, why don't these people get it? How sales work?
Yeah, I know this, man.
Why don't you get it?
It's crazy.
How the human psychology works and how to, why you should ask for their meeting booking link instead of, you pushing down the drain, your calendar link, why don't you just get it? Like, and then you understand because, AI or whatever big data a machine can process, billions of lines of code in seconds. A human cannot do that. So it's like, GPT-1 versus GPT-5 problem kind of, humans are GPT-1 and there's GPT-5, the big AI, Of course, it's going to outcompete you. But you still know that you need humans to do sales and everything. That's fine. That's why we have the A players, or up to 40% of the individuals that do social selling. Cold calling is still illegal from an agentic system. Fine. Let the people cold call, etc. And then everything that is like humans are maybe not good at, like writing a cold email or doing properly LinkedIn, because I get still garbage on LinkedIn. Like I get it like a template. Like, dude, I wish this was
That's crazy. Yeah.
Everybody knows we're all getting garbage. And this garbage is not AI garbage, by the way. This garbage is still templates that get blasted. The templates get blasted and blasted and blasted. And then everybody gets fatigue. And then everybody complains it's all spam. Guess what? The reason why something is spam is because of the human. Is because argue is because of the dead wood in the space, right? So if we would eliminate dead wood, we only had the A players and then the A player software, proper AI agents working, people will get better emails. There'll be better list building. Everything will get better. And suddenly we would not call cold email a spam. Would not call LinkedIn messaging a spam. We would, things would just get better. All right. So, but it's a very tough problem to solve, just generally because you're trying to make two businesses talk to each other. But kind of generally for everybody to also prepare what's coming. So we talked a bit about what's happening on let's call the seller side, the sales side. But on the buyer side, we're seeing softwares popping up like Fixer, anti-spam software is popping up, etc. Essentially, the buyers will start using more and more AI agents to protect their mailbox. They will be qualifying your emails. That's coming.
Yeah.
It will get tougher. The efficiencies will drop on cold email because of the AI agents implemented by the buyers. That is also massively accelerating. Look at the Fixes revenue, by the way, guys. Just look at Fixes revenue, and let's just assume there's other 10 fixes that will pop up over the next 5 years that will help to protect the buyers' mailboxes from outside communication, blah blah blah. That will qualify whether it's a fit or not. That is coming, and ultimately, what we are getting to over time, bit by bit, is AI agent from the seller side. Let's call it Agent Frank. Will talk to Agent Johannes.
Exactly. They will talk AI against AI. This is the same thing that 100%. Yeah, this is true.
And they will figure it out. And if Agent Johannes says, Frank, I like what you're solving. We have this problem in our company. We like the way you're solving it. I will send it to the human.
Yeah.
I'll send it to whoever. And because we have qualified, we have done the tango, Yeah. That's where the friction lies. You see? Yeah. So it's inevitable that the seller agents are coming, that the buyer agents are coming, they will talk to each other. I already actually see we send billions of emails. We already see that agents are talking. There's already less than 1%, but still we're seeing the agents are talking because we bumped into some buyer agent and they're talking to each other. It's kind of funny to read the threads, by the way. So,
I can imagine.
And you're like, dude, it's coming. And the only thing that you're demotivated about, it's only like 1% of the traffic. You're like, boy, I wish it was like 10% of the traffic right now. So the percentage of the agentic traffic back and forth will massively increase over time. And that's coming, So don't fight it, like there's no way to fight this. Like, by the way, embrace it, I would say. And try to think about, okay, if this is happening, if that is happening, how do I build my agency? So yeah, that's why agencies have to become more strategic, more system implementers, I would say, probably. Less of like, I just run some cold email campaigns, because that thing will die, more and more die over time. Because why use an agency that costs 3 to 5K if you can just plug in an agent that will cost 1K? It will be kind of, in 3 to 5 years, it will be like obvious thing to be using an agent versus an agency. And
Mm-hmm.
agencies, the reason why agencies exist is because there's inefficiency in the system in a lot of the cases, just to let you know.
Mm-hmm.
So these efficiencies are being sort of patched up by the softwares, by the AI agents or whatever, right? So the efficiency it reduces. There's less need for an agency in the market, and only the super cool agencies will remain. That's what will happen, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Let's call it 10 to 30% top agencies will remain in the market in the next 5 years, is my
Yeah,
prediction.
agreed.
70% will be gone due to software is improving, due to AI agents, etc. So are you in the top 70% bucket? Yes. Well, I have bad news for you.
Yeah. No, 100% agree. I already said last year already, when you're not going with the trend and you're not going into play and all that stuff, you're going to be gone in the end of the year. And it was like that. And like this time it's going to be the same with the agents. Like it's like if you're not jumping on the train, you're just gone. But
It's still
like one,
early.
one
It's
thing that
still
I'm really
early.
curious about, because obviously I work a lot like on everything of AI, like with Poppy and stuff like this. But like obviously you can still see that it's AI written. Like when do you think it's there where you cannot see anything anymore?
So the humans are training AI agent not to look like AI agents, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
they're literally humans. You hire humans to train AI, not to be like AI. Like it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
funny, but it's a thing
Mm-hmm.
as well. So
Yeah.
it is coming. So I don't know when, but like I'll be honest with you. Like I even lose the track. I look at something and I think it's human based, but it's AI, full on AI,
Okay.
100%. That's
Uh-huh.
what I'm getting. Like even I'm in this space for a long time. Like even I can't know this difference. So like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter AI or not AI. I think let's be honest. Like I'll give you probably an example. Let's say you need to call your utility company
Mm-hmm.
and about the bill, like your water bill, whatever. You call them up, and whether you speak to a human AI, do you really care?
No.
You
Yeah,
care about
true.
service, right? So
Yeah.
how fast it was answered, service provided, you're
Yeah,
happy.
yeah, agreed.
You care about. What do I care? I care. I go on LinkedIn and I want to consume content and I want to learn and be entertained. At
Mm-hmm.
the end of it, I'm asking myself, was this AI generated, human generated? Does it really matter? Like, just ask this, philosophical question. I want to be entertained. I want to have a good time. I want to make money. I like whether it was something AI to do with AI agents or not. Who cares? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
did we bring home the bacon? Yes, we did. Did we make? Was it profitable? Yes, excellent. Like, what are we complaining about? Um, AI agents are there to help you to improve margins, increase speed, and maybe increase quality, whatever. And yes, not all the AI stuff looks great, and everybody knows that, right? So a lot of AI just sucks. We're talking all about which model to be using right now, Opus, blah blah blah, this and that.
Yeah.
Uh, there'll be other models coming up every single year out. And
Yeah.
yes, we'll get to a level where it's just indistinguishable. We're gonna get to a level where Johannes will want to watch a movie tonight. And Johannes will click a button, generate for me a movie. And based on Johannes's Netflix data, Johannes will get the best movie of his lifetime every night,
In
generated
AI.
in AI.
Yeah.
Johannes will not care whether it was AI generated or not. Johannes will say this was like the best movie ever. It was generated in minutes, and it was generated based on Johannes's behavior on Netflix, and
Yeah.
Johannes will be happy. Um, and yeah, whether it was human generated, not, I think a lot of people will not give it. I know there's a lot of people like, oh, how dare you? It was AI generated. You misled me. Blah blah blah. Like I think that's all bullshit. Honestly. And what you should care about is like, is living a better life. That's why technology gets better. That's why I got the mobile phone. That's why AI is coming. That's why I got the internet. For me, actually, AI and implementation of AI. I was not living in the era of like when the internet really maybe popped up, really, or maybe I don't remember as much. But it reminds like the internet moment a bit, like
Mm-hmm.
the internet thing. Um, Now it's the AI thing, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
very similar that there's a massive transformation in terms of how things are being done. And a lot of people did not embrace the internet back
Mm-hmm.
then. But guess what happened with internet? It's like the thing. And I
Mm-hmm.
believe it's exactly the same thing with the AI agents. It will be just the default thing in 5 years. We'll be all laughing, watching back this recording 5 years ago. We're discussing and like what we were on about, even.
It's like what
What was this
exactly?
about? What was this bullshit?
Look at this
Honest, by
stone
then have like
ages, you know.
Honest, by this time we'll have like 50 agents running for him, and he'll be like, Frank, that conversation was totally.
Amazing.
But even these, robotics coming into your home this year, next
Yeah,
year.
this is coming.
and it's all coming. So
Yeah.
why are you doing brace? Like, just figure out, okay, great, it's coming. Just be positive about it. It's coming. Okay, this thing will disappear. I'll need to do this. How do I make money out of this? Do I need to reskill myself? By the way, labor redistribution, big thing. I'm saying it's coming. It's like, back in the days, like the factories, the robots came into the factories. Suddenly you didn't need that many factory workers. It's exactly the same thing right now in software.
Mhm.
The AI agents are coming. You suddenly don't need all these people clicking laptops, blah, 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 even buying a laptop, to a
Yeah.
human, buying licenses for them. You don't need all of that suddenly.
Yeah.
Um, so what do you do then? Just do stuff that the AI cannot do, for example, become a painter, I don't know, whatever,
Mhm. Yeah.
whatever that is, right? So just do things that are pretty hard to be replaced by AI. That could be one example, right? But or reskill yourself. The best thing I would say is be the guy that knows how to implement AI agents. Like that, I think this job, you get paid a
Yeah.
ton of money, a
Yeah.
ton of money. As an AI agent, you are just a company, sorry, an agency that is just an AI agent implementer.
Yeah.
You are the agency that transforms companies to we call ourselves agent first. You make them
Mhm.
all agent first, and that is your service. You do
Mhm.
transformation. Your goal is to eliminate headcount by 10% in every company. This is my service. It will cost you 100K for the year for us to come in and implement agentic systems. And
Mhm.
my promise to you, whatever, or our goal is to reduce headcount by 10% by implementing all these systems. It's a
Mhm.
great value prop, I think. I would do that if I would be an agency owner.
Yeah.
Um, and that's what's coming. You just have to think about what will people buy having all these agents around. They don't know how to implement them, how to train humans to use AI agents. That's also a service, by the way, that could be offered. I train your own organization how to get used to working with AI agents, so you don't freak out. Because humans
These all
freak
these old people, obviously, yeah, exactly, of course, yeah.
people freak
They're
out.
scared of it. They're like, oh my God, what's going to happen, right?
My God, an AI agent is pinging me. I don't know what to do. Or they used to talk to a human. Suddenly on Slack, an AI agent is pinging them.
Mm.
And the AI agent asking, why are you not responding to me? Like it will be a thing. Like imagine AI agent will ping you. There's a problem in the system. People ping a human, and some humans will not be comfortable talking to AI agent. So
Yeah.
that freak out because humans are like, it's the wiring in the brain kind of. You have to change that a bit, because you have to suddenly talk to a system a bit, So
Yeah,
it's
but I
coming.
mean, like, this is another thing that I wanted to ask you as well, because obviously us in the space, we know everything about AI. We swim the wave. But what's going to happen with all the other people? They don't even know what's coming. They have no idea. They will be like, what the fuck, you know?
But it's fun. Like think of it this way: that like even if we all talk about that ChatGPT is like massive, most of the world still doesn't use ChatGPT, just to let you know. So we're
That's
like,
what I mean. Yeah.
we're still miles away. Just call this early days, though. So this
Yeah.
is warning. This is still early days. Highly recommended you think about it. Resolutions for this year, whatever. What you're gonna do. Think about it. You're still in early days. You still can ride the wave. The mega wave, by the way, is coming.
Yeah.
Still, is the argument. The mega
Mhm.
wave is still coming. We're still in the early days. Yes, we all are a bit biased because of ChatGPT, but I can tell you, my mom has never used ChatGPT in her life. There's
Yeah,
a
my
bunch
mom,
of
Mia.
other billions of people have never used ChatGPT
Yeah.
as the example. So, okay,
Yeah.
cool. So the adoption is still coming for ChatGPT and everything. And AI agents adoption for that is also coming, blah, blah, blah. So we're still early days. Just think about the niche that you can go into, dominate that niche, whether you're implementing AI agents, whatever it is that you're doing. You can build a big business out of this, literally, over the next few decades, but something with agents in mind. On the service level, literally, because yeah, the tech is there, everybody's pumping trillions of dollars going into the LLMs and everything. But somebody will need to implement this. And that could be you. That's
It's
the next
actually
thing.
very smart, very fucking smart to say, like, look, I'm going to build agents for one kind of industry, and that's my specification. That's what I do.
Yeah, you go to let's say you as an agency specialize for implementing AI agents in logistics. That's
For
in
example, yeah. Mhm.
own. You own it. You're the
Huge.
badass, the logistics badass. You are the guy that everybody comes to, and everything that's with AI and AI agents in the logistics. You are the man in the world, and
Mm.
everybody will pay the top dollar because you know exactly in logistics how the agents have to work and like what's the whatever So just
Mhm.
own a niche, right? Whatever that is, doesn't matter what it is. The
Mhm.
people that there's enough businesses in that niche, like tens of thousands of businesses, but nobody
Mhm.
dominates the expertise in logistics, whatever other space. And you just come in, you start a service, you start onboarding customers, and all that you're doing is you're blending. I call it blending agents with humans. And you're pitching to the CFO, to the CEO of a company, margin improvement, headcount reduction, right? So through headcount reduction, implementing autonomous systems, being able to operate 24/7, being able to respond faster to the customers, or efficiency improvements, etc. And that's what you sell it. And this is proper, what I call proper work, proper, strategic work that you're doing. It takes time to implement this and adjust. It'll take up to a year. So big
For
chunk,
sure.
fat 6-7 figure projects that you could sell and do the transformation, an agentic transformation for company. That's just one example which you could do, right? So just do transformation.
Well, I love the example because right now we have agencies that serve different niches, right? And the new model is going to be build agents that serve different niches.
Yes, or yes, because I'll give you an example with the Jason Lemkin guy. He talks about using like 5 to 10 agents. So your job is to figure out which agents to implement for this business so it can work nicely.
Yeah.
It's also something you need to figure out. Each agent works differently, but they will suddenly work together, whatever, around the CRM, the hotspot, right? So, and then you need to figure out, okay, they're the agents, they're the humans, there's the CRM, there's some clay stuff happening, some backend data, but you need to orchestrate this. Because most of the companies, 99% of them, are missing the agent, let's call it layer, or the not nobody, but like to implement agents is not that easy. People freak
because
out.
it depends who programs and prompts them. That's exactly the point. That's what you say also with Agent Frank. If you have some idiot SDR prompting it, it's not going to fucking work.
So every business is different. It's custom essentially. It's like a custom. It's a bit of like a project, because even though, let's say I compete with a bunch of different companies, and we do let's say we do a similar thing, they're using a different CRM to me and different tech stack and whatever. So whatever you implemented to me cannot be really replicated to them too much, because the composition of the technology, etc., is different. So every single one of these kind of implementations on the agentic layer is just custom, like honestly. There's no way to make this sort of, a playbook, really. So these are projects that you're doing for different companies. And you can make a ton of money. Who would say no to agentic implementation? I mean, yes, you need to have a budget for this. You're serious about AI implementation, agentic implementation. And guess what? Employees internally are not always the best ones to implement that. So somebody needs to specialize in this. It's like an agency. Why you use a clay agency, because nobody internally in the company knows how to use clay. That's why you use a clay agency. It could be exactly the same with on the agent front. You know all the various different agents, what the strengths are, how to implement them, what to do, and you go and just do these implementations and make a ton more money than even using clay. Because the thing with clay is like there's already thousands of agencies that know how to use clay. But knowing how to assemble multiple AI agent capabilities for a single business, there's not going to be that many people in the world. Let's say maybe 1,000. I don't know, like a very small pool. I have a feeling of people that will be able to know, at least trust them. You would say they're the god of the space, of the niche, whatever. And you can massively charge more for every hour that you're putting into this, work. So yeah, just think about that. That is definitely a huge opportunity, and I think a lot of agencies are equipped to do this, kind of transition to that space and start early. Learn about what's called off-the-shelf AI solutions, then bake in with other automations like N8N, etc. How to build, build this transformation in different businesses. But the main pitch is headcount reduction, efficiency improvement, margin improvement, right? Revenue improvement. Which CFO and CEO wouldn't, or shareholders would not like that idea? We live in a capitalistic society, right? So. More output, better margins.
Fire. I honestly, like, one question I do have, because I know you do so many different things, and I know also with my audience, this is always a typical, different, interesting question. Like, what do you do to not burn out?
Good question. You just need to do what gives you dopamine hit. Fun fact: I do like 10 to 20 meetings every single day, even multiple podcasts and whatever. Like I already done 2 today. So you're my third one, by the way. Just to give.
For this energy is fucking over the roof.
Yes. But why do you do that? Think about what you need to ask yourself. You just look in the mirror and ask yourself, Frank, what gives me dopamine hit? So every time when I finish a work day, or whatever you're doing in your life, what gave you the energy? And what gives me the energy is to talk to other people. That's why I'm good for sales, right? So the more I talk, the more demos I do, the more meetings I do. At midnight, I actually went to bed at 3 a.m. Will you see that I went to bed at 3 a.m.? No, you don't see that. That's because I was talking to people till 3 a.m. It gave me so much energy, and you're still pumped and you're ready to rock and roll. Guess what? I woke up at 8 a.m. And I already done 2 podcasts, and this is already the third one. So because something gives you an energy, and that could be talking to people. The other thing that gives me dopamine energy is listening to music. So while I'm doing some work, whatever, or listening to EDM, electronic dance music, baby, Tomorrowland, all that stuff, whatever you name it, and whatever gets you pumped. You have to get into the mode of like, what's the word for it? Anyway, you're at your highest peak every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
What's the mode? Some people will do whatever, cocaine, whatever they're doing. I don't do that. I don't need that.
Yeah.
I'll do a bunch of demos. I will go and listen to some music. I will talk about bacon, whatever. But whatever that is, whatever gets you pumped every day. What makes you pumped to open up a laptop and have a crushing day every day of the week, Monday to Friday? What is that? For me, it's like talking to people. So let's talk to as many people as I can so that I'm still pumped at midnight. I was like, let's do more, like, every day. And you're repeating that. You have this sort of, let's call it, becomes a bit like religious a bit, as well.
Yeah.
How do you manipulate your brain to be always top performing, always pushing it, always going hard at it? And if you have a challenge, how do you overcome that? What's next, doesn't matter, deliverability, not deliverability, customer complaining, churning, whatever. So, it is tough also in the business. There's a bunch of different problems, firefighting every day, deliverability, this and that, infrastructure burn, whatever, God knows, whatever that is. Just like an agency, every agencies have exactly the same thing. But you
They're
need to
just in a bigger
you need to be pumping, and if agency work, whatever work that you're doing drains you, you're probably doing the wrong thing.
Exactly. I agree.
Doing the wrong thing. That's why a lot of agencies leave, because once they realize they have to deal with customers and their pains and their complaints and the unsavviness, they leave the space actually. Some of them, I just say just pick different customers, pick customers that you want to work with, that's got to think about as well. So just ask yourself in the mirror, what gets you pumped every day, so that you open up your laptop and you keep crushing it, keep building these clay tables, keep sending emails, keep LinkedIn messages, keep customers happy, retention is high, they refer new customers. What is that ritual, the mentality, what's happening in your head? Like, it needs to be clear. Like, you need, like, so for every person is different. So that's why it's hard to to kind of replicate this, etc. Because every person is different. Somebody's an introvert, somebody's extrovert, somebody's etc. I think the best way to figure this out. So if you're struggling to look in the mirror and talk to yourself maybe a bit, I don't know, whatever, is to go with a good friend of yours to a bar, I guess, and get some beers and just chat about what gives you energy. It's definitely a topic you can just kind of dive deep. What gets you pumped, and just talk about it, like. And whether that's 2 dudes in the bar or 4 dudes in the bar or whatever, whoever's in the bar or etc. But like, you will figure this out, like, and then just try to do more of things that gives you energy and less of things that doesn't give you energy. But it may give energy to Johannes. So I'll be like, Johannes, do you want to do this work? I really, it's like, I get drained by doing this. Hans, I'm gonna pay you 10K a month just to take care of this. And that's the way you should think about it. That's why you should work with other people. That's why you should hire a clay agency to build clay tables. Because just to give you an idea, like, personally, I don't want to build clay tables.
Me neither. Fuck it.
Right? No, but I know people love to build clay tables.
I know.
I pay some money, just build clay tables. But personally, I don't want to build clay tables. Is it what's the reason? Because I don't like to spend time in Excel. So clay reminds me, Excel, spreadsheet, etc. It's not something I like to look at, even like a table. It's not a thing. My job is to sell. I want to show you the software, and I want to tell you why this is the last piece of software you'll ever buy. That's the type of work I like to do. And then other people like to spend time in spreadsheets all day long, which reminds them clay tables, etc. And that's totally fine. So double down on what gives you dopamine and kill what drains you. And by doing this sort of optimization, boy, you'll be a happy man. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. It's the same thing, because you said a lot of you talked a lot about 10x. I mean, this is one of the best books that I've read this year. 10x is easier than 2x. Did you read it?
No, unfortunately, no.
It's
I
really
don't have
good.
the time.
Yeah, it's really good. But why? Because he talks about the same thing. He says, if you really want to go big in something, and if you really want to make a big business out of it, you need to be in your 20%. You need to be doing the things that you're doing the best in while doing it, and you need to love doing it. If you bring these two things together, you're going to be unstoppable. And I see this, like, also, I don't know if you ever read Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil, where he says, like, the devil says, I control 98% of people. And Napoleon Hill asks, who do you don't control? And the ones with a definite purpose. The ones that wake up every day and say, like, this is what I'm doing, and I fucking love doing this. And that's why I'm so on fire. And that's what I feel on your energy. You just love what you do. And that's what it's all about. That's why you say, said, this gives you the dopamine. That's why you love it. And that's why, and this is something that I see very often in a lot of agency owners. They don't love what they do. They just don't. And if they don't, then just do something else. I don't know. But you know what I mean? Or get the fire to get there, because there's so much more people that are so much more hungry than you. And if you're not hungry, you get fucking eaten. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, like internally, like I'll give you another example. Like, you know, like even in the business, like, there are things that people like, don't like even like the stuff that you do in your team. So even though, you know, I'm the CEO of a company, I don't really like to do a thing called managing people.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a lot of actually people don't want to manage people. I mean, same for me. I don't want to be managing people. So you implement a culture which is not about managing people and babysitting. The culture is we do bottoms up.
Mm-hmm.
That means the leadership comes from below and to
Mm-hmm.
the top, and that's how it has to work. We
Mm-hmm.
don't do babysitting in our company. Actually, if we are doing babysitting, you're fired. Very simple.
Okay,
Are
cool. Yeah.
fired. Nobody's gonna do babysitting. If I have to tell you what to do, how to do it, etc., the fact that I spend time on this, I'd rather fire you. I want people that are hacky, figure out ChatGPT, etc., that do a bit of, that know how to use Google search, etc.
Yeah.
That's the type of people that you should hire. And so let's say, because I don't like, you know, because we as founders, we don't like to do people management. It's just not something that we enjoy at all, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, you could hire managers, but that is not how to run a stellar business. Just have a managers, you know. Why
Mm-hmm.
people cannot self-manage and be autonomous? Just hire people that are that. And if you're not self-autonomous, fire them.
Mm-hmm.
Fire them. And I think that one of the biggest mistakes that founders actually make, or agency owners, you have not fired these people quick enough. That's actually one of the regrets typically that you have. You haven't fired the person quick enough because you gave them a chance, too many chances. You let it go, you know. So that's why, you know, one of the reasons kind of, you know, why I'm building agents, because there is always this human dilemma. It cannot be solved. That's fine. We're gonna blend with agents. World will get different, better, whatever, you know. Capitalize on it, or, you know, implement agents. People want it. People like me. There's other millions of business owners. Trust me, they want agents. Go implement, make a ton of money, be happy, be a millionaire, whatever, and happy days. So yeah.
I love it, man. Okay, I know you have a little bit time with your time, so I have one last question for you, Frank. It was really a pleasure talking to you. I really like that. I have a lot of value, I believe, for the audience as well, especially where the space is going and stuff like this. Listen up to what this guy is saying, because I think he spoke a lot of truth today. But my last question would be, because obviously there's a lot of people that are just starting out now and stuff like this.
Yeah.
If there would be like one advice that you could give yourself when you were
Yeah.
starting out, let me say you were like, I don't know, 25 or something like this, or even younger, when you started out in business, what
Yeah.
would be one advice that you would give to your younger self?
Good question. So, speak to as many. So, pick a niche first of all.
Hmm.
Niche that you like. Doesn't It could be whatever the reason is. You just like it. Cool.
Hmm.
Or a lot of money could be made, or not enough. Not too many competitors. Whatever. There's multiple reasons. You pick a niche for different reasons, and
Hmm.
then you speak to as many customers as you can,
Hmm.
and you will figure out what are the problems, how to solve them, etc.
Hmm.
It's that simple, really.
Hmm.
Speak to people,
hmm
but
hmm
we're not talking about one, two people. We're talking
hmm
about just be religious. Before I built Salesforge, even though I'm from the space and I know what I'm doing, I spoke to 40 people.
hmm
I sold 4 subscriptions before I shipped a single line of code to Salesforge.
It's like, I do this, you wanted,
Then you got
yeah.
Johanna speak on it to say, listen, I'm rolling out Salesforge in 3 months. Do you want to buy my shit? Johanna says yes.
Uh-huh.
Businesses said yes, they want to buy my shit. Before I even shipped a single line of code, I said it doesn't exist. There's only landing page, you know. So speak to people.
Yeah.
Tell them what if you're gonna solve this problem. Try and get the credit card, you know, like confirm that this is a thing. Somebody will want to buy your stuff.
Yeah.
Just speak to people, like to be ballsy, think outside the box. Don't be shy to ask questions. Don't be shy to ask for a credit card. Just don't be shy to make mistakes as well. You know, I think that's very important in the early days. A lot of people think, like especially in Europe, you made a mistake. How dare you? You know,
It's so true, yeah.
US, people will like applaud you that you went above and beyond. Sure, you made it. Who cares?
Yeah.
You learn from it.
Yeah.
Have balls to make mistakes, learn from it, and that accelerates the way you think about stuff. It moves you faster, better, you know, stronger. Everything, you know, gets better. You know, the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing successful is because I made millions of mistakes in my life. You know, I learned from it, and I'm trying not to make them, well, minimize the number of times, you know, I'm making the same mistake. And I'm just trying to do more of things that works, and that gives me dopamine. And that's the result. One of the reasons why I'm able to be more successful later in my life. That's what telling everybody else. So in your younger days, you have not made enough mistakes. So you don't have the context, you don't have the rag in your head. Make mistakes. So everything else becomes, a good thing to do. Like, there's the one thing I said to my everybody, to my phone, the best way to focus is by defocusing. But you do not know what not to focus on unless you made these mistakes, right? But this is like, so when you're trying to focus in your life, let's say we want to pick a niche. We have 10 niches we select. You eliminate, and then only 3 will remain, and you try and eliminate the other 2. That's it. This is the niche that we for sure focus on. We eliminate everything else. This is how you can think about it. Well, how do I focus in my life on stuff? Just do it through elimination. Just defocus on the other stuff. Because then the last option is the option. Is the obvious option, because we eliminated every other option, right? So and that's kind of another piece of advice, kind of, because I always had it back in my head. I want to work in software. I worked in Google. I worked blah blah blah. And you kind of, you have this sort of, goals, kind of like the North Star, initially in the early days. But you need some focus, some aspiration, some ambition, some, and then also just read maybe what the founders are saying, like the founders of Lovable or the founders of whatever, all these companies, the reason why they went big. What was just look at their LinkedIn. What did they do in their life to get to where they got to? What needs to happen? How fast the progression has to happen? How many years do you spend in a company, or what did they do in the early days? There are some signals in there. Trust me. We can't go into this for too long, but like, just there is data out there. Learn how to use ChatGPT. Big advice. Learn how to use it. And this final thing I want to finish off: use ChatGPT as a business coach. Learn to do that. I think this is probably the easiest, simplest thing to implement. Just assume ChatGPT is your mentor and try to talk to it. Try to talk to the machine. And the more you talk to it, the better the answers, the better they'll know about you. You will be very thankful to me after a year or so, because of all these conversations. But treat ChatGPT as a coach, a bit more like as a mentor a bit. If you're in that mindset, it will drive for you a ton of value in the early days of your adulthood. It becomes maybe less of a thing later on, like for people like me, but it would have made a huge difference to me in my early 20s. So yeah.
Yeah, I have a GPT that I call Neo that I give to all my clients. This is basically a version that I built about like a China's GPT version, and I talk to myself about it also every day, about everything. Like, this guy knows everything about me, so I use it big time like this, and I'm also a big fan of this, to be honest, because it gets better and better with time as well. It's unbelievable, right? So it's really
Because you're
learnable and
building
it
all
comes
that
slowly.
context. Yes, it will pay the dividends, the more you use it, right? So yeah, that's all I got for you, Hannes, unfortunately.
Yeah, man. I thank you so much for joining. It was really great pleasure to meet you, man. And yeah, guys, thank you as well for watching this. And I hope it was, I know it was fucking great value from Frank. So, and I see you in my next video. Take care.
Come on, guys.
Good, man. That was fire, man. I really enjoyed that.
Yes. Likewise. Yes, it was a good session. All right, I gotta run.
Yeah.
Gotta go to an event. It's not a
Okay.
podcast, another one, but it's an offline event this time, actually, that will last till midnight. It's the next. We never stop, man. Johannes, my midnight
Yeah, I
never
love your
stops.
energy, man. Your energy is through the roof. I love people with a high energy, and you have very fucking high energy. So I really appreciate that.
I
That's
came from
cool.
a previous podcast, which is why I was late. Went to your podcast, and the next one is an offline event. At midnight, I don't know what's happening at midnight. That's the next chapter, probably, whatever. So it's
All
just
right.
going. That's always like, always gets you pumped.
What can I check a little bit more out about this Agent Frank thing? Because I'm really quite curious myself to check it out.
Uh, so there is a landing page. I mean, it gives you baseline information, but we don't go too much into depth. It's on purpose, so you actually book a demo. Just book a demo. Like, why wouldn't you? Like, just go and just out of your curiosity, say, I'm just looking into this. Just book a demo. They'll walk you through how it works in turn. Like, they'll show you exactly how it works, because you cannot see it yourself. It's on purpose. Uh,
Okay.
and the reason why we do it, can you not do it yourself? Because we see a very high failure rate if the human uses the agent themselves.
Yeah, I believe this is exactly what I said before. When there's some debug, it just makes no.
That's why you need to book a demo to actually see. So the agent is out of 7 the only product that you actually need to book a demo to even see how it works. Because the belief is like, if we just leave you to it, you're gonna 99% sort of failure rate, essentially. Let's go that way.
Okay.
But we qualify, disqualify people. We talk about, because the way you think about it is just different. So you need a human to assist another human to get used to using an agent. That's the problem. I think we'll get better over the next sort of 2 to 5 years, but we're still not there. Again, it's not a human problem, essentially.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It depends. All like the agent does everything that you tell it when you tell it correctly, but it does one and one exactly what you tell it. That's the
It's a
problem.
bit of a setup. Yeah, it's like implementation, right?
Yeah.
And you need not a human to assist you. And then there's a lot of companies that have wild expectations what the agent can do, and you're like, let's not even waste our time. Kind of, you're disqualified. Of course, I could collect the money, I can sell you whatever, but like, our business is to make sure the churn doesn't happen. So we don't onboard customers. But there was one guy who said, Frank, I sell 7-figure deals and I only have 300 customers and I expect this and that. Like, dude, it's not gonna happen. Whatever. Some people have crazy expectations. They think agents can do anything magically. And yeah. But cool, good chatting to you, Hannes. Let's keep in touch.
Take care.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.